And so we have friends and family kind of everywhere, you know, there's a sacred circle or a fire somewhere. It's all connected to the fire, all connected to the sacredness. If you want your tradition and your etiquette preserved, you bring it to the sacred altar. It gets acknowledged on the altar, and that's how it gets preserved, because now those stories don't die. That etiquette lives on forever.
Absolutely.
Confirmation from spirit. That's the important part of it, is the authentic connection. I think that happens quite often, Trevor, because when you go to do work with your page, it's a connection to spirit. So it's an initiation, and your page will then understand the connection with spirit that you have, and he will help you translate it. So not everybody is born to pour ayahuasca. Yeah. You'll find that somebody will, and I don't know the technical term for them, but he would work with the Kambo frog, and he would then specialize in the Kambo as a doctor. So he would be coming to the ayahuasca ceremonies, and he would be attending with the 2 or 3 people who are initiating with the page in the forest, but his focus is on the frog. So I know for once or twice, I know that they've pushed people to like 127 points where they do the meridians up and down the legs.
Because what's the normal starting with 3 or 4?
No. I think Bunny gave me 11 or 13 points the first time I did frog with him, but he could see that I was a bit of a hard nut to crack, and I had a lot of stuff to get through. And so if you go look at the medical side of frog, it's a neurovenom or toxin. The ketones that are present within, and the phytoketones, the ketones and the neuroketones, and I may have these terminologies correct, which you'll see with me. I don't really care about the names, and I understand how it works because I've experienced it, because I've had numerous applications in my time. We try to do 2 applications a year, because in the forest they don't have antibiotics, vaccinations. This is one of those medicines that boosts their immune system naturally. So basically you have a neurovenom that gets released. So with 120 something or 200 points, whatever the points were, you could go into a coma, and your heart rate could drop to the point that an inexperienced person without a stethoscope could think you were dead. Look, I mean, it could be an admixture. It could have been added.
So they could have taken, so that's what you were saying, this venom, this is the Amazonian frog, not the Sonoran desert toad.
That's bufo. That's something completely different.
So the Navajo and other tribes and could have taken that, traded that, because it is DMT, and used small doses mixed with other things and smoked as a 1 or 2 shot. But the shaman would have known the formula.
Yes, well, he would have been directed to the frog, or his ancestors would have known where to harvest the frog.
Yeah, because that frog would have got hundreds of tribes through the matrix, one frog. Literally.
Like correct. You know, there's some tribes in the Amazon jungle where they use a seed called like chalipongu. Yes, so the seed gets roasted. I don't know the whole process. I've just seen people receive it, and I know first-hand experiences from a few friends that I know. It's quite a long applicator pipe where they blow it, and my friend said when the first blast hit him, he was already almost collapsing. They had to help him and then hold him and then let him go for him to hold the pipe to receive the second one. And where he collapsed on his side, he was there for 45 minutes to an hour, and he said it was one of the deepest, furthest DMT experiences that he ever had experienced in his life. He stayed in the fetal position the whole time.
So you've had chaliponga in an ayahuasca ceremony?
No.
You haven't tried it?
No. I'm a bit of a traditionalist, and because we met the people we met, we technically have access to these medicines, and because of my understanding of the connection and the spirit and the work that gets done with it, the sacredness with it, the intentions, the songs. When we make daimi, or the ayahuasca rebaptized daimi, the women harvest the leaves, the men carry the basket into the forest, like the lady checks the branch that the leaves aren't damaged. It gets clipped, she puts it into the man's basket, he carries it to a separate venue where the ladies inspect every leaf and then clean it by hand. The men go into the forest and find the vine that they've identified through the padrino, The whole vine gets harvested. The canopy, they follow every single shoot out into the forest. Every single root gets dug up. Like, it's the work that, and it's only men that do that, and the ladies harvest and the leaf.
And who cooks? The women and the men?
Traditionally the men, because it's hard work.
Okay.
The woman will come support on a balcony, kind of like set up within the kitchen, factory, whatever you want to call it. The men in the old days used to use a bastão, a baton, on a wooden block, and they would beat the ayahuasca while singing the songs in complete harmony. It's just not doof, doof, doof. Everybody is in the complete beat. Then the padrino of the house, of the kitchen, he would have a formula. There's guys chopping wood to make fire. They cooking, depends on how big the church and the facilities and how many heaters they need. They have 2, 4, 6, 8 pots. There's different combinations. There's singing, there's shifts. It's called a futu, and it happens, I hope I got the pronunciation right, but it's the festival for 2 weeks a year, and it happens twice a year. And in the forest it's pretty similar as well. Then the whole community gets together and they harvest it and they cook their sacrament, and then all the sacrament is taken up, and within their church they have a cellar, a sacred cellar where the daimyo lives, and from there it's poured twice a month. So, and with the Kaxinawa the same way, they'll go into the forest, harvest the plant, come back, and they have their formula. The page in the village, or the chief in the village, his sons, elders, cousins, they know the formula. There's a way that they put it together, how they manage the pots.
So you say every 2 weeks, it's like the Roman Catholic Church Holy Communion every 2 weeks.
You stay on the cycle of the moon, new and full moon basically. So you stay within the repetitiveness of it. And it's not in the repetitiveness of it, is that in many of the sacred traditions around the world, they believe that you want to reconnect to whatever your higher power is every 14 days. You don't want to extend that connection in 14 days because it keeps the thread bright, it keeps the connection strong.
Yeah.
So they know nothing about Christianity and all of those things, especially with the Kaxinawa, but they have a god, Ushimu, within the Kaxinawa tradition, but there are many deities, like Yemanja is a queen of the ocean and the waters.
Like all the ancient tribes had all their deities.
And they all had their specific works, And then when you look at these deities that are now made in little statues, then you see the similarities in South Africa with some of the Sangoma traditions, with the initiation uniforms are the same. And
also some of the Native American, also some of the...
Exactly. And not just South African, but also other African traditions who follow very similar patterns. So then we go like, but how did that happen? And we say, but slavery that went into Brazil. A lot of the African people managed to take seed, drums, culture with them, and their culture is what kept them going and motivated. So their culture still thrives in Brazil, and it's a very mixed and multiracial country. And a lot of the tribes, for instance, next to like Banis tribe on the northwestern frontier, I think it is, in the forest there, all the way up, I think, to Ecuador and the top of Bolivia, there's an untouched tribe who don't want to be encountered by anybody. They're very aggressive if anybody comes to them.
Yeah, I think I've seen that.
They don't care.